The most frustrating aspect of modern dating for men isn't rejection. It's the agonizing ambiguity of not knowing where you stand. You're left deciphering a cryptic code of hints, subtle gestures, and promising signs, only for her to suddenly pull back, leaving you in a state of confusion, replaying every interaction and second-guessing your every move. This isn't a simple case of mixed signals. It's a sophisticated dance rooted in deep psychological instincts. Women often operate in a world of subtlety, nuance, and what's known as plausible deniability, the ability to offer a hint of interest. That can be easily explained away as mere friendliness if met with rejection. This behavior is frequently misinterpreted by men as game playing or disinterest, but in reality, it's a protective mechanism. The core reason is that female attraction psychology is deeply intertwined with concepts of vulnerability, value, and power. To openly and directly display desire is to make oneself profoundly vulnerable to rejection, a risk the feminine psyche is often instinctively wired to avoid. She is biologically and socially conditioned to be the selector, not the pursuer. Surrendering that leverage too early in the interaction by revealing her full hand feels like a loss of control and a diminishment of her perceived value. Therefore, instead of revealing her cards, she plays a strategic long game. She provides just enough encouragement to lingering glance, a specific compliment, a reason to be near you to maintain your attention and investment, while strategically concealing the full depth of her feelings. This creates a dynamic of mystery and challenge, which when navigated correctly, actually builds tension and attraction. It's crucial to understand that this isn't necessarily a sign of weak interest. Often, it's the exact opposite. The more potent her attraction, the more carefully she may hide it. Why? Because the higher the emotional stakes, the greater her fear of being exposed, embarrassed, and hurt. A woman who is mildly interested can afford to be bold because she has little to lose. But a woman who feels a strong, genuine connection has everything to lose, and so her instinct is to protect it fiercely by initially disguising it behind a veil of tests and contradictions. She is not just assessing if you like her. She is determining whether you are the kind of confident, grounded man worth risking her vulnerability for. When a woman is intrigued but consciously concealing it, her primary mode of communication becomes a language of fascinating contradiction. This isn't a coherent message, but a series of conflicting data points designed to probe your character. She will deploy a calculated push-pull dynamic, offering a moment of warmth, gauging flirtation only to follow it with a period of puzzling distance. She might reveal a flash of pointed jealousy when another woman speaks to you, only to immediately dismiss it with a casual, "Oh, I don't care, I was just curious." She'll offer a genuine, specific compliment about your ambition or character, and in the very next breath, playfully challenge your opinion or tease you about a minor flaw. To the uninitiated, this feels like chaos or indecision, but it is far from random. This behavior is a sophisticated, albeit often subconscious, testing mechanism. The core of what she is gauging is your emotional stability and inner strength, often called your frame. She needs to know if your sense of self-worth and confidence remains unshakably solid when her behavior shifts unpredictably between warmth and coldness. The central question in her mind is, will he remain the same confident man when I am difficult, or will he become insecure and seek my validation? If you react to her distance with confusion, anxiety, or desperate attempts to win back her favor, you effectively fail the test. This demonstrates that your emotional state is dependent on her actions, revealing a neediness that extinguishes attraction. Conversely, if you meet her warmth with engaged confidence and her coldness with calm, unfazed indifference, you pass spectacularly. Your unwavering demeanor communicates that your value is self-contained and not for her to validate or diminish. This emotional consistency is intensely attractive because it signals the kind of maturity and strength required for a secure, mature relationship. It proves you can handle the complexities of her emotions without being thrown off balance, making her feel safe enough to potentially lower her own guards. Her mix signals, therefore, not a rejection, but an invitation to demonstrate the very qualities that make a man truly compelling. By remaining centered, you transform her tests into a foundation of genuine respect and deepening attraction. While her words are often carefully curated for plausible deniability, her subconscious actions, body language, and patterns of behavior consistently betray her true interest. A woman adept at concealing her cards will still inevitably generate subtle leaks, involuntary signals that reveal her investment and attraction. Learning to read these tells is paramount, as they form a more honest narrative than anything she might verbally confess. One of the most reliable indicators is indirect attention. She will engineer situations that bring her into your orbit without appearing deliberate. She finds logical, casual excuses to initiate conversation or be near you. Perhaps by asking a question she already knows the answer to, or commenting on something in your immediate environment. Her laughter is another key signal. Louder and more readily at your jokes, even the mediocre ones, than anyone else's in the room.
Ow.
This is a subconscious way of displaying approval and connection. Perhaps the most telling sign of all is her recall of minute details. She will remember the name of your childhood dog, the project you were stressed about 3 weeks ago, or how you take your coffee, and she'll casually reference it later. This demonstrates that her mind has been actively processing and storing information about you, a level of mental investment that is never wasted on a man she is indifferent to. Her body language provides an even more unfiltered stream of data. The eyes are particularly revealing. She will hold eye contact with you a fraction of a second longer than is standard, often with a softness or intensity that feels significant. This prolonged gaze is a silent form of intimacy. Furthermore, she will often engage in mirroring, subconsciously adopting your posture, gestures, or speech patterns. If you lean forward, she may lean forward. If you cross your arms, she might do the same. This mimicry is a primal sign of rapport and alignment, indicating that she is attuned to your energy. In group settings, her orientation is crucial. Will consistently position herself where she can see you, her body angled toward you even if she's engaged in another conversation. She will find reasons to casually bridge the physical gap, perhaps to show you something on her phone or brush. A speck of dust from your shoulder. This seeking of proximity is a powerful instinct. We naturally gravitate toward what we desire and distance ourselves from what we dislike. Beyond attention and body language, her actions speak through a principle of selective investment. She will go out of her way to perform small, thoughtful acts of service. This could be bringing you your favorite snack because she remembered you mentioning it, offering to help you with a task, or checking in on you when you're unwell. She will always frame these actions as simple kindness or casual thoughtfulness to maintain her deniability. But the underlying truth is that women do not consistently invest time, energy, and mental bandwidth into men they do not value. This investment is her quiet, action-based way of saying, "You matter to me." Finally, observe her behavior in the presence of competition. When other women are near you, her energy may undergo a subtle but noticeable shift. This is the jealousy tell. She might suddenly become more animated and talkative, aiming to capture your attention and demonstrate her value. Alternatively, she might become more physically assertive, finding reasons to accidentally touch your arm or stand closer to you, subtly marking her territory. She is unlikely to confront the other woman or make a scene. Her methods are quieter, designed to send a signal to you and the other woman without her having to explicitly declare her claim, thereby maintaining the protective shield of her hidden cards. Beyond the involuntary leaks and subconscious tells, a woman concealing her interest will often employ a set of more conscious, though still subtle, strategies. These are not merely signs of attraction, but active methods of engagement designed to build connection while meticulously protecting her vulnerability and maintaining the upper hand. One of the most common and effective shields is humor and teasing. Playful banter, light mocking, and exaggerated jokes at your expense serve a dual purpose. On the surface, it creates a fun, casual dynamic that seems to keep you at a comfortable distance. However, in reality, this is a primary vehicle for building intimacy without the risk of earnestness. Through this playful conflict, she can test your wit. See if you can handle not taking yourself too seriously and create a unique shared language between you. It's a safe space for flirtation, because if the vibe is ever challenged, she can easily retreat behind the defense of, "I was just joking." Your response is critical. Reacting with defensiveness or neediness shuts down the possibility, while responding with calm confidence and reciprocating the wit shows you understand the game and are a worthy participant. Another sophisticated strategy is framed curiosity. She will not ask blunt, personal questions that reveal her hand. Instead, she engages in strategic information gathering under the guise of friendly conversation. Questions like, what kind of music really moves you? Or do you ever get tired of being so focused on your goals? Or seemingly harmless. Yet, beneath the surface, she is actively building a psychological profile of who you are. She is piecing together your values, your passions, your vulnerabilities, and your worldview. This isn't idle chatter, it is investment. She is determining if you are not just attractive, but compatible on a deeper level. The depth and nature of her questions are a direct reflection of her level of interest. The more personal and value-oriented they become, the more she is secretly envisioning a potential fit. Perhaps one of the most significant strategies is the controlled release of vulnerability or selective sharing. A woman will rarely show her emotional cards to a man she does not value. Therefore, if she carefully and cautiously begins to share small personal stories, slight insecurities, or past challenges, it is a major test and a profound sign of trust. She is offering you a small piece of her inner world to see how you handle it. She is watching closely for your reaction. Do you listen attentively and with empathy? Do you judge her? Do you use her vulnerability against her, or do you make her feel safe and understood? How you handle these small revelations determines whether she will feel secure enough to share more. She is essentially granting you incremental access, and each positive response from you makes her feel safer and more drawn to you. Conversely, a mishandled moment will cause her to immediately retract and reinforce her walls. Finally, there is the strategy of subtle self-promotion. This is where she casually, almost accidentally highlights her own accomplishments, skills or values that she perceives align with what you admire. If you value fitness, she might mention her morning run. If you respect entrepreneurship, she'll bring up a side project. If you prize loyalty, she'll tell a story that underscores her own. This is not bragging, it is calculated branding. It is her way of silently communicating, "I am the kind of woman you are looking for," without ever having to ask for your approval or risk the direct rejection of putting herself on the line. She is presenting her resume in the form of anecdotal conversation, hoping you notice the alignment and make the connection yourself, thereby choosing her without her ever having to explicitly ask. The entire dynamic of hidden interest creates a clear paradox. The women who are most intrigued are often the most skilled at concealment, making the man's response the critical factor that determines the outcome. The most common and fatal mistake is to seek premature clarity, to directly ask her how she feels, to plead for a straightforward answer, or to react to her tests with anxiety and frustration. This approach fundamentally misunderstands the game. Forcing her to verbally confess her feelings violates her innate need for safety, mystery, and the gradual building of trust. It attempts to skip the very process she is designed to vet your character, and in doing so, it comes across as insecure and needy, instantly shattering the attraction she may have been carefully cultivating. The man who demands clarity communicates that he cannot handle ambiguity and that his emotional state is dependent on her validation. This is the antithesis of the grounded, self-assured strength she is testing for. The winning move, therefore, is to completely abandon the need for verbal confirmation and instead become a masterful reader of behavioral patterns. The grounded man does not chase words. calmly and patiently observes actions. He understands that her mixed signals are not a personal affront, but part of a deeply ingrained mating dance. His response is not one of reaction, but of unwavering, calm presence. He meets her playful banter with his own wit and a confident smile, never taking the jabs personally. When she shares a small vulnerability, he handles it with respect and emotional maturity, making her feel safer. Most importantly, when she pulls back and becomes distant, he does not panic or chase. He mirrors her energy, gives her the space she is implicitly asking for, and confidently focuses on his own life and purpose. This demonstrated lack of neediness is profoundly attractive. By staying observant and emotionally unwavering, he accomplishes two crucial things. First, he passes every test she throws his way. He proves that his confidence is internal and unshakable, that he is not easily swayed by her changing moods, and that he is a man of high value who cannot be easily manipulated. Second, and more importantly, he creates a container of safety. His consistent, calm demeanor signals that he is not a source of drama or neediness, but of stability. This makes her feel psychologically safe enough to gradually lower her own guards. When she realizes her games cannot rattle him and that his interest is steady but not desperate, the need for those very games begins to diminish. In this position, you are no longer a player in her game. You become the man who controls the rhythm of the interaction. You demonstrate that you see her hidden attraction not by pointing it out, but by how you respond to it with the quiet confidence of a man who knows his worth and doesn't require her to say it aloud. This is the ultimate mastery, winning the game without ever needing her to confess she was playing.